vibes, elevate our minds, determined to reach goals so we can all thrive. I'm in it to win it cause we all supreme. Just tune into Harlem Radio 115. Welcome to Harlem Radio 115. This is your host, Late Night, and we're here with the special guest, a master trainer. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. His name is Manata Zakmayam, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yes, my name is Manata Zakmayam, Grandmaster from the Harlem Karate Institute, and my teacher was Grandmaster Ernest Hyman and also Grandmaster Aaron Banks. I've been training in martial arts for over 50 years, since I was 11.
Excellent. So, since you were 11, how did you become a martial artist? Actually, I want to hear that story.
Well, the whole thing is about joining a martial arts school. I never wanted to join a martial arts school because I never thought it would work. But what happened is that a schoolmate, a female, a girl, she asked me if I wanted to join the school. I told her that martial arts stuff don't work. She said, well, fight me then. I said, I don't want to fight you. You're a girl. She said, well, fight me anything. And if it worked, she said, you'll come to class, right? I said, I don't want to hurt you. I'll beat you up. She said, listen, she said, when you want to fight me? I said, okay, since it was a Friday, I said, I'll fight you tomorrow, Saturday, because I knew I'd be out of here at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So she said, what time are you going to fight me? I said, 3 o'clock. So there wouldn't be no place to be found. So she says, you going to fight me? I said, yeah, I'm going to fight you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Where? In front of the building. You're going to fight me 3 o'clock in front of the building tomorrow. I said, that's right. So what happened is that, and she said, if I win, you join the karate school, right? I said, right. And I said, if you lose, I can do what I want. I didn't think she could do that. We was in the same class, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my God.
What happened?
Well, Saturday came and the new Bill Cosby cartoons came on. I forgot all about it.
I remember those times.
So when it came on, Fat Albert and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I forgot the time. And my mother asked me, she said, I usually go downstairs early. So she said, you're not going downstairs? I said, because I usually hang out with Douglas Davis, who's Dougie Fresh.
Right.
Me and him used to hang out together,
Dougie Fresh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because his mother trusts me more because I was one of the more decent people in the area. So, his mother let him hang out with me outside.
Right.
She knew what people to let her son hang with and who not to. Because his mother was strict. Yeah, so anyway, when my mother asked me to go downstairs, I said, I looked at the clock. It was 3 o'clock. Now, I totally forgot about the fight. Because I didn't think no way I was going to fight with a girl. Came outside. Everybody was in front of the building. I ain't seen so many people in front of my building. Oh, my God, since. And this little girl came out from nowhere. As soon as I came out of the building, a little girl came out and said, oh, I heard you're going to fight Beverly today. I said, yeah. I said, where is she? Now, she was hiding behind somebody else. There was so many people. Show you how many people was outside. Okay. She said, here I am, and had her hands stretched out. She said, you going to fight me today? I said, yeah. She said, come on, all right. So I did something, so I put up my hands and said, okay, come on, let's fight. So I said, boom. And she ducked both punches, right? And all of a sudden, pow, 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 flipped me down and had a punch in my face. She said, you want some more? I said, no. She said, you coming to karate practice today? I said, yeah. So I came to the class. So when I came to the class, the teacher there, Ernest Hyman, he said, line up. Now I'm sitting in the bleachers, right?
Right.
So when everybody's lined up, he see me sitting down in the bleachers. He said, what are you doing sitting down? I said, come here to watch the class. He said, you ain't come here to watch no class. Take your shoes off and get the hell on the line. And ever since then,
that was it. That was it for you.
And days I even tried not to come to class, he came to my house and got me. I couldn't get away from it.
What? He came and actually got
He
you?
got me.
He
He
came up
knocked
to
on my
you?
door. He knocked on my mother's door. I'm in the room. It's about 6 o'clock, and he knocked on the door and says, "Miss Ford, your son there?" And she said, "Yeah, he's in the back. Could I go back in the back and get him?" He comes back in the back and he says, "Young man, you supposed to be someplace tonight?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Get your geek and come in the car and get the." And he said, "Let's go." I couldn't get away from it. I
Wow.
wound up being his top student. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
you
wanted
ended up
to.
being his top student, like
It,
the best in the class. Like
yeah, just yeah, me and everybody he trained is the best.
nice,
And
nice.
like I'm very thankful because it saved my life many times. And I won the grand championship twice. I'm a former correction officer for the New York City Department of Corrections. So I did that. That's a fighting job. You got to fight all the time. You fight. So they hired me right. That's what I was. They hired me for my martial arts. So it worked
Wow,
pretty. It worked out pretty good because
excellent.
I used to love to fight all the time. Back, still do, but I try to stay out of fights. I'm like a crime fighter, you can say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got the original Batman over here, guys.
I wouldn't say Batman. Oh wow.
That's dope. That's dope. So on this show, we like to talk about the elevation of the community. We like to get into love and relationships. The relationships being any type of relationships you have with your coworkers, your friends, and your family, and stuff like that. We also dive into a little bit vibrational and spiritual aspects of the light of the community as well. But here we're just gonna focus on elevation. Now, what do you think? I don't know if this is getting too deep for you, but
Not at all.
okay, excellent. What do you think is the best way to elevate, a community, in terms of, from teenagers, kids to adults to elderly? What do you think is like a good way to elevate? Do you have any
The
ideas how
good
to
way to
elevate?
elevate, I'm glad you asked that question. You asked the right question. The first thing is love. Because when you have love in your heart, that attracts you to the Most High Power. Loving the Most High Power will get you very far. If you have the love of the Most High and through Christ, you can get very, very far. It's a deep study, but you can get there. And also letting you know with love comes understanding. So when you have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, those are the best keys when you have love. Because that'll guide you in the right direction. See, in martial arts school, it's physical fitness, discipline, and self-defense. It's always three. You know, those things ground you. It's a ground. That's why in Kung Fu, they have yin yang, good and bad, opposite. But if you're going to have good and bad, you have to be grounded so you can stay right. So that's why I use the three symbols on my symbols: uh, positive, negative, and ground. It's a
Nice,
continuation,
nice.
and
That's
I call it tricorders. By the way,
tricorders.
tricorders.
Okay, so
Bruce
so
Lee called it the Concorde.
okay, that sounds very familiar. We're gonna have probably a picture of that. I'm gonna have a picture of that because I have